Hey, you're about to be a big deal now, anyway. Hey, welcome to Siba Selects with Monelle. How you doing?
I'm great, and yourself?
I'm good, thanks.
Good to be here.
Yeah, love the kicks, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, stylings. What's going on, bro?
I have to show out. You know, this is a big show. This is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Is it because you just got that shandies?
What shandies?
The shandies you see all over Instagram. You got selected for a shiny.
Let me.
Hey! I was like, damn. Of course she got selected.
Just a little bit.
You know, I was like, of course she got selected. It's a given.
I'm so ready for just all the collaboration that's about to happen.
All right, let's start off with that exciting bit of news. What is that? Tell us about it.
So basically, it's just this writing camp, and we have people from like everywhere, different genres, different faces, coming together. And for a week in November, we're just gonna be in the studio, making music back to back. And yeah, well, you get the details soon. Yeah. Stay tuned. It's gonna be amazing. The lineup is incredible. So yeah, check out Redecay, and you can see everybody that's involved. It's about to be amazing. We're about to make some records.
I was like, no, man. God, I know these people, man. Is that Jordan? That's you.
Yeah, boy.
It's a pleasure to have you here. The people need to see your face. You know what I mean? Cannot be covered by. Can't let the mic be in the way.
I'll show my face just today.
But in any case, you know how it goes. Have to check in, a personal check-in. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Better than most days. You know, we're just cruising. I feel like it's the end of the year, and like we're getting to that like tired fugue state. So like that last push, I'm just trying to pace myself and like take it a day at a time. So you know, we're just cruising. You know, how you doing?
I know I'm okay, but you know, 2022 can end.
It's been a bit long. It's been a bit long.
Yeah, it can end.
But it's been looking good. Especially on your side, we see you.
On your side, we see you. We see you.
Please.
So yeah, what would you like to discuss today? Do you want to discuss life? Do you want to discuss the music?
Everything. It's all interconnected, to be honest.
It's all interconnected, to be honest.
Life is the music is life.
I feel like I would be doing you a huge disservice if I didn't ask you about the cover.
Oh my gosh, yes. Breathing room. The concept for this whole project like took a long time. Like I thought about it and I was feeling it for a really long time. When I finally like fleshed it out, like I was just like, this is what it needs to sound like, and this is especially what it needs to feel like. And when we approached the cover, I got this guy in Jabulo, and we were inspired by this photographer, and we're like, we need to recreate something like this. And I like the idea of like the balloons being kind of like isolated in different like shapes. You don't know if like they're flying away, if they're being dragged down or held down. And I wanted to use like contrasting colors to kind of like capture the passion, but also the gloominess of like the feelings, you get me? And yeah, we just had like a really fun time making the cover, and I actually wasn't like allowed to be in the water, but like we had to like sneak away, get the shots, and it was in like winter, so like it was so cold, but so worth it because we got the shots and I was super happy.
Where did you shoot this?
We shot this at Zoo Lake. Don't tell nobody.
Hey, Zoo Lake security.
Don't tell nobody.
5K for the location.
Look at this, man. You gonna snitch on me for
5K for the location? Hey, man.
I'm gonna double it.
Say no more.
This is a check.
Because
Don't worry about it.
When I saw the cover art, I was like, whoa, like this is really beautiful. And I'm not a person that's very visual, you know. Not as creative as yourself, you know. So obviously, like when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is an indie artist, like came up with this pristine thing.
Thank you.
But we know how you guys do over there at Redacted.
Yes, sir.
What I wanted to ask you, navigating the industry as someone that purposefully chooses to be themselves, what are the hurdles that come with that?
I think because like my mental health and like my anxiety influences a lot of my life, I think being in this industry is really, really hard if you're struggling with, you know, anxiety or depression, because you're constantly expected to, you know, show out, you know, dress up, be in the front of the camera, talk to people, network. And it's tough, but at the same time, like, especially like writing this EP, I wanted to share that like it's okay to like take a moment and like isolate and maybe reflect. And I also want to show people that just because you're struggling with A, B, and C and you think, yo, like I can't like make it in this industry, like you can. You just have to like, you know, set those boundaries and like take care of yourself and also communicate to people. And like for me, like music is how I like communicate to people what I'm going through and how it affects my relationships and how I feel about certain situations. But yeah, I think most importantly, have a good support system and management that also understands like if you need to take a day. And yeah, support yourself and take care of yourself above all else, because it will affect your art. And then you know, like there's no point in like drowning yourself in like doing all the industry stuff and then you end up being unhappy and at the end of the day. And we see that happening with a lot of artists. So yeah, I think it's very important to like constantly be taking care of yourself as an artist. Yeah.
Do you think this industry is at a point where it's kind of more understanding now, or do you think
half and half? I'm not fully convinced, but I feel like people are more accepting. But I feel like online more than in real life.
Oh,
you
good
get
point.
me? Like people be like, oh, I support you, and like, yeah, take the day off. But if you actually like tell people, oh, I'm gonna cancel my concert because I'm not feeling okay, they're gonna be like, oh no, but I paid for the ticket, and like they're gonna be angry at you. And it's like, okay, but I thought we were like, cool. Like you see, so there are consequences to like having to pull out from certain things because you're feeling away. So like I said, like I think there is support, but like you also understand there are consequences to it. And yeah, you just have to like navigate the give and the take, you know, what you're willing to lose out on and what you're willing to gain, and yeah, what you're willing to prioritize.
And what were you trying to communicate with this EP?
Firstly, how to talk or discuss, you know, like why you isolate and why, you know, certain behaviors like are triggered in certain ways. And secondly, to kind of just give the okay, like, you know what, it's fine to like take some breathing room, take some space, go reflect. I really wanted to reflect. It was very like a reflective project. And also just have that moment to be intimate and like vulnerable and just tell my story as honestly as I can without like sugarcoating it too much and like you get lost in like the frilly words and the lines. Like, you know, I wanted to be like really real. And I also wanted to play with like the production. I got to produce for the first time, and I'm like got to play with the production and really like dive deep into each concept and each thing. And like, yeah, working with Jordan has been amazing because like he understands like when I like, I don't know how he does it, but like I'll be like, make it sound sad or make it sound angry, and he'd be like, I bet, got it. And I'm like, perfect. And so like, yeah, we really fleshed it out together to like make the words and the production kind of like tell a story of this space that you isolate. And me, my whole life, like I don't really like share my stuff, but like when I'm in my room alone, that's when I really am like reflecting and I'm free and I cry and I laugh and I do all these things. And like that's what Breathing Room, I wanted it to feel like. But when people like write like an R&B or a alternative album, like, oh, and they give you like bedroom feel, it's like acoustic and like soft and cozy, and I'm like, it's not always comfortable even in your safe space, and it's about working through the discomfort in your safe space. And yeah, that's how we approached like just the production and what we wanted to like accomplish with the project.
How long or when did you start producing?
Oh my goodness. So I have always kind of produced. I can't say I'm a producer. I usually do concepts.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
I'll play like a melody on the piano, or like I'll play something on the guitar, and then I will like hand that over to like an actual engineer to like develop it. Exactly. So I wouldn't say like I know how to produce, but like when it comes to my concept, I really like, if it's in my head, I'm gonna be like, okay, I need someone who can like create it the way I hear it in my head. But yeah, I literally, when I released, this one's for the real ones who know, when I released New Waves on SoundCloud, I was basically just like experimenting for the first time, and that was like in 2017. And yeah, from then I've always just like played with instruments, played with sounds, and a lot of my music comes from ideas that I have and then someone else has developed with me.
And in general, what sort of emotion or vibe comes out most naturally? Because I can imagine when you make a body, you want to make consistent and ever, but just when you're just playing around, what sort of emotion comes out first?
I don't know, actually. Emotion, I can tell you like a genre.
Okay.
But emotion, I always like fall into neo soul and like hip hop right away. What emotion comes first? I think melancholy a lot of the time, but like the sense of relief, kind of. I like, even though I want to share like all the melancholic stuff that happens, whatever, like themes and stuff, I also want to dive into like what happens on the other side. And I always want to have that kind of like silver lining in my music that kind of makes you still feel good. Like, okay, this is either a safe space or it's a space to like let go and like put everything on the table, even if it's pretty, even if it's ugly. And yeah, I just make whatever like I feel like is very strong and as just kind of like universal. Yeah, a lot of things. I write a lot of things. I try to write like happy songs, but like I tried to write Bad Day because like it's like an upbeat but then the song ended up being about a bad day, and I'm like, well, but like essentially the song is about, you know, still being someone that is lovable even though you're having a bad day. So that's always kind of the type of music that I want to make, is that you don't have to be perfect to have a happy song or happy song. You get me? Yeah. So it can like sound sad and still be happy, I suppose, depending on like what I'm trying to get across. So yeah, I think like melancholy and like relief and a sense of like freedom to just be vulnerable in yourself.
So if someone was introduced to you and not a real one, as you say,
a new one, we don't hate. Real ones and new ones are all welcome.
If we got introduced to you in Loathing Memory, this is Breathing Room is kind of like a shock to us. It was a shock to me.
Yeah.
It was a shock to me. I had to pause and say, let me go listen to Vent one more time and come back. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't ready for that. Such a big transition, such a big leap. Could you perhaps provide context as to how or why that shift in energy happened?
It's very like parallel to what happens in real life, in the sense that you can't control the chaos when it's happening and how it comes along and how it looks. And I kind of wanted this tape deliberately to not sound like the stuff that I usually make, because the space that I was in was very different, and the story that I was telling was very different. It was very personal and very raw and vulnerable, and I wanted it to sound edgy and raw and like slow and really like pull you in and make you take a moment to stop, because that's kind of what it feels like when you are going through something and you're isolating. It just like pulls you in and you're just in this space. And I got to experiment a lot with like more electronic music rather than the soulful jazzy elements I usually use. And yeah, that was very like deliberate because I wanted it to be very parallel. And yeah, I just dove into the chaos. And like I just feel like you should just not enjoy the space, but like allow it to happen, and experience it and be open to it, and it's a give and take, and just find your work your way through it instead of like around it. Yeah, so that's how like we kind of chose the soundscape for Breathing Room, that I wanted it to be kind of like metallic, kind of like heavy and like bassy, opposed to the light and airy stuff that I usually do. And that was basically because of the mood. I wanted it to be very heavy and hard hitting. Yeah, that's how we went about it. And yeah, I'm very proud of how it came out.
Yeah, because I feel like it was purposefully raw. This was something you decided that this is what we're gonna do.
I think that like at first I felt like I don't know, but like I wanted to take that risk and do what was right for like the music and what felt right for like the emotion, and that's what felt right. And yeah, I still like go back, like I have like an archive of like R&B, neo soul music that's coming out, but like yeah, I wanted to take a little like turn. And what surprises me is like my fans are so amazing, because as I'm growing and changing, they're growing and changing with me, and like on this journey with me, which has been like absolutely amazing. So I just know that like the music that I'm putting out, as long as it's honest and it's real to my listeners and like everybody out there, then then it's right for me, and then I'm gonna be proud of it. So yeah.
Welcome back to Siba Selects with Monelle.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Before I even lose my trail of thought, right, I wanted to ask you about ownership of being a mess. Personally, something
Listen.
I felt dragged.
Was not my intention.
But ownership of being a mess is something that's a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
How do you find ownership in that? Because it's a very easy downward spiral to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
There's a balance, and it's a very hard balance to find, because every time I mess up, I feel like, oh my gosh, here I am again, being that person. I swore to myself I'd never be this person. And it's acknowledging that you need to grow, and there are things that you're struggling with, but also not beating yourself up about not being able to do those things, or being triggered. And it's, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a really, really personal journey, but it's an empowering journey. And like you said, like a lot of people struggle with it and don't actually realize that they're like struggling with certain things, or that they're in the wrong in certain situations, and they can't own up to their downfalls or their mistakes. And I think overall, just as a human being, the best you can do is try to be your best in like every situation, and just give yourself grace. Like the same way if a friend of yours like walks into the room and like knocked a vase over, you'd be like, no, you didn't do it on purpose, it's fine. But like if you do something, it's always like, why do you always do this? You'll never grow, you'll never be a better person, you'll never like, and it's just like, why do you do that, when like if it was your friend, you would have been like, it's okay, like you'll be better next time, and like be nicer to yourself. And I realized that like that's something that I struggled with, is just being nicer to myself. And funny enough, a lot of people are going to be angry at you for doing that. Like when you make a mistake and you're like, I forgive myself, they're going to be like, no, you must feel bad about your mistake. No, you must go and be depressed all over again. It's just like, no, actually I've learned actual proper coping mechanisms, and I don't want to feel bad all the time. And I'm learning to forgive myself, and not only forgive myself, but actually grow in these situations. And you have to make the mistakes to be able to grow. And people want you to like stay in the mistake and be angry at you and like keep you there. And yeah, just give yourself grace and make your journey your own. And yeah, just keep going. Like I said, make the mistakes to grow. yeah, it's really difficult. Like, it's really, really difficult, and everyone's different. And yeah, just get a really good support system. And that starts with yourself. You have to be a good support system to yourself.
Man, how do you know, my therapist asked me this question. She's like, and I don't like how therapists are kind of too smart.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why do you have to be right about everything?
I get that.
She says to me, you have to tell me, or you have to answer these questions for yourself. When I'm losing track of my health, this is what I do. When I'm keeping in track with my health, this is what I do.
Yep.
So I'm not going to make this a difficult question for you.
Yep.
When you are doing well in your journey of dealing with life, what are some of the things that you do when you know that, you know what, I'm actually peaking as a human being right now?
It's weird because I feel like when I'm peaking, I just function like a normal person. Like, I just like wake up on time, and I'm like making a meal. Like, I'll shower. I'll like go outside. The basics. Yeah. Like, I'll be like, wow, I'm outside.
I can do 12.
I showered, brushed my teeth. Wow, look at me. Like, I'll actually like engage, greet the neighbors. Like, it'll just be like I'm a normal person. But I think that like what the underlying thing is that I'm less stressed and I'm in the moment. And having those two elements together is when I can really just be myself and peak. It's just like no fear, no stress, and just being present. And sometimes I'm just so overtaken by like my thoughts, my anxiety, everything. There are very few moments that I have where I'm just like, actually, like, I don't remember anything in that moment besides like having a good time. Like, I wasn't worried about who was looking at me. Did I say something stupid? Am I wearing something stupid? Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, not worrying about all that other stuff. And yeah, like, it's just like, it's really like tough. And I'm just trying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying, honestly.
It's crazy how when you're peaking, it's like I'm just doing normal human shit.
Honestly.
Like, if I can exercise, if I can just do 10 push-ups, then I know I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good right now. Because truly, wholeheartedly, with everything in me, I hate exercising.
Honestly.
Truthfully, I hate it.
I hate how good I feel afterwards, because I hate it. And then like after the workout, I feel great, and I'm like, wow. So they were right. Like, I feel healthy. I don't want to do that again, but I feel healthy.
You know what the strange thing is? I don't get the good feeling afterwards.
You don't get it?
I'm like, this sucks. This sucks. I'm tired. I'm painful. This fucking sucks. That's the feeling I get after exercising.
I want to go.
You know, so that's the thing. Yeah. It's like it's kind of like I tried to describe to someone, and I said, you know, when you have this little thing, your ability to cope with normal things is compromised. Yeah,
exactly.
Then that's really all it is.
Exactly, like basic everyday stuff.
Just a normal thing. Like, it's like if I throw a pebble at you, it shouldn't feel like a full-blown brick.
Exactly.
It's a pebble. It should feel the way a pebble should, but somehow
the impact is different.
How do you coach yourself out of recognizing that, okay, I know it's a pebble, I have the awareness to be like, I know it's a pebble, but it still hurts. It hurts like a brick.
Yeah. I actually recently had a situation where I had to like face something that I struggle with, and I'm not gonna disclose what it is.
Yes, of course.
But
yes, of course.
It took me like a few days. Like, at first I was like angry, and I was like, this person knows that like when they do A, B, and C, it's gonna trigger X, Y, Z, and I'm gonna act like this. And then I'm like, but you can't always act like this when somebody triggers you and does whatever, because people in life are gonna do what they do. You can't always control. Like, I also like struggle like letting go and like of control. So I had to literally be uncomfortable. I'm like, you know what? I went to the person. I was like, you know what? If you want to do this, you can do it. If you want to, exactly. If you want to screw me over, you can screw me over. If you want to do whatever, live your life. And I realized that as I was entering that very uncomfortable space, but facing it and accepting it and choosing it made it not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I was just like comfortable in the space. It no longer had power over me. It no longer affected me like it used to. And at first I was very like uncomfortable, and like I got kind of like used to being in like an uncomfortable situation, and eventually just didn't affect me. And I think that you have to like kind of start small and kind of work your way through, but really, really face the things that make you uncomfortable. Face the things that like trigger you. And I'm not like saying like face the issue or the problematic person or whoever hurt you like directly, but the problem and the feeling, and like, yeah, take care of that. And like I said, own your mess and own that confidence. To really face those things, and you'll always come out stronger. Like, it feels like you're in shambles when you're like facing it. It feels like, you know, David and Goliath type things, but like, trust me, you'll come out of it. And like, the thing is, like, you have to choose for yourself also, like, what you want from a situation. Do I want to like rush into a situation and lose it? Like halfway through I'm like, actually I'm uncomfortable, I don't like being uncomfortable. But you knew that you were going to be uncomfortable, so don't like act surprised and then you spiral all over again. Like I said, give yourself grace. If you make a mistake, it's okay, and move on. And like, it's not just one situation that you're gonna grow from and be like, oh snap, that's all I needed to know and learn. Like, it's gonna take multiple relationships, multiple interactions, multiple reflections, multiple growth points to reach a space where you are the person that you want to be. And I feel like right now we're all just like trying to wake up, living your best life. I woke up like this. You know what? Scratch that. I wish. I woke up like, it's not that way though. So like, yeah, be okay with the journey of like not waking up like I woke up halfway there, and I woke up maybe 75% there, and then you wake up 100% there. But it's a journey, and you don't know how long it's gonna take. And I feel like people shouldn't give into the social media and you know, you can like reach these goals in a week or 2 weeks or 2 months. Like, be invested in your journey and don't be focused on how long it takes.
Social media is poisonous, bro. Honestly. You know, like with movies, they have ratings. They say parental guidance is needed. You know what I mean? There's no PG warning for social media.
No, they're just like, are you 13? All right, cool.
Anyways, talking about owning the journey, can you tell us about the journey that you take us through on Breathing?
So the track list actually was like very much intentionally chosen. And when you first stepped into Inhale, it was about basically facing expectations. And like, when you finally like face, you know, things that you're not okay with, and start drawing boundaries, you start growing. There's certain people that you outgrow, and certain things that like, okay, people that I have to forgive, and you know, and it's in that moment that you're like overwhelmed with like different types of emotions. It's like, I'm angry at you, but I'm also trying to forgive you, and I'm like also trying to grow, but also I want to like, you know, like be in a good space. And it's that like resent of like, I am not in a good space because of A, B, and C, and X, Y, Z, and like, I can't solve this situation. You want to control it. And so I was just like, Inhale is that moment where it's just like, you take everything in and you just kind of release it as well. And as we flow into pause, it more dives into the expectations part of it, of just, what do I like do afterwards? And, you know, like, I've forgiven the people, and, you know, I've, you know, grown and whatever. What do I do after that? And it's like, you think that, like, the people that you love and, like, the relationships you had, like, they would see you through the difficult time, and sometimes they don't. And it's that moment of just, like, what's the point? You know? And, then we get into, exhale, and that's kind of where we tap into a little bit of like the madness, as I say. As letting go is not always like woosah, rainbows and lullabies, and like it's calm, but sometimes letting go is violent. It's really like painful. Losing friends is painful. Losing, you know, fucking up relationships with your friends or your family, it's, you know, like it's a painful experience. And that's when you fall into blackout. And this is what most people do when they're in a spiral, is just lose themselves in their emotions, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's lashing out, whether it's anger issues. There's always just like an outlet that people choose, and that's what blackout represents. It represents who you become when you're losing yourself. And then the last song, Unsteady, is kind of the calmness after the storm. Like after your actions and you've done everything, there's that last moment of like, I know I'm not okay, and I know what I did, and that spiral, you're like at the bottom of the spiral, and you're like,
dark place.
That was crazy.
Place.
Yeah, it's a really, really like dark place. And so it's just, I know that I'm unsteady, and I don't recognize myself. I don't recognize, you know, my friends. I don't recognize like, where am I? Like, who am I? Like, how do I get back to the person I was? Not even that, like how do I even improve on the person I was, because I don't want to be in this space again. And that's just kind of the journey that we took throughout Breathing Room. And we didn't want it to like have an ending point. We kind of kept it cyclical, so if you kind of listen to it from beginning to end, it starts over, because like in real life
could listen to it backwards too.
That's dope. It's like a real one. So we kept it very cyclical, because that's how it is in life. Like you learn, and then next thing you're like in another situation, and it's like the same thing over and over, and you kind of just learn different lessons from each situation that you're in.
You know, I always ask people
to give them like perspective, because some people think this shit is cool, and it's not.
Yeah,
this shit is not an aesthetic.
True.
It's not, you know, it's not dope. I could do without it, right? So I always ask the people if they've seen the movie The Joker.
Yeah.
And I always ask, do you think as a character the Joker's dope? And more likely than not, people are gonna be like, yes. Or do you think Kanye, for example, do you think Kanye is dope? Do you think you know, him being so intense and lashing out, and you know, all these little moments that he has, do you think that's dope? And more likely than not, people always say yes. You know, but I'm like, do you think you can work with Kanye West if he can scream at his homie like that? Do you think it's going to be Pop and Flace working with a man that goes, you know what I mean? So the reality of being someone like the Joker, people is like, I don't know how it came to be, but it became cool.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, man, we're not chilling in our rooms being like, we're so misunderstood. No, that's not what's going on here.
Gang.
Oh,
like,
hey,
no,
that's not what's going
on. That's not the vibe. I don't know what it is. Like I said, like in the beginning, I feel like on social media, people support you, but like in real life, if I started having like an episode right now, I don't know how many people in the room I can count who can actually know what to do and how to support somebody. It'll be like 0. So it's kind of just like, where do we then like meet each other in the middle? And like, it's not like an aesthetic. It's not just doing it just for like the hype of it. And there's also a bit of sexism attached to it, because when there's men talking about their mental health and their music, they're like, damn, this nigga's deep, like that, you know. And then when a girl or a woman talks about her mental health, it's like, oh, this is too emotional, next song.
You're right.
But
you're right.
But what do you mean? And like Mac Miller, Kid Cudi, they're like open about their mental health, and they're like, yeah, men talk about mental health. Summer Walker talks about her mental health, and they're like, but you knew it's part of the game. You can't be crying every time someone says something sideways. And it's just like,
even her interviews,
something's different. You get like,
have you seen the comment sections of her interviews?
Exactly. People are not forgiving. They are not forgiving. They act like they are, but like in real life, IRL, it's just like people are not forgiving, and there's sexism attached to speaking out about these things, because when you're a woman, they're just like, yeah, whatever. You're just emotional.
You're
anyway.
just emotional. Anyway.
You know, you get affected by things anyway. So it's just like, that's the chat. So I think it's very important to like step in these spaces and like tell them what the real chat is. And we're not here to be cool. We're not here to like, ha ha ha. No, we're here to like make a statement and talk on behalf of a lot of people that are affected by these things, and make people aware of the dynamics and how to navigate the industry, especially when you are faced with these challenges.
Well, I think let's end part 2 there.
I bet.
For part 2 there. Part 3, I have. Yes, back in a second.
There's something that can make me cry,
Yes.
and I didn't take these
I
days.
didn't take them.
Now I have to be a red-eye warrior in this office.
Fuck.
This is my life.
Yo.
Yeah.
Damn. Anyways,
Yep.
part 3 of the Monelle interview.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you something I don't think you've been asked before.
Okay, yeah.
In your music, how do you think you are perceived?
It's very interesting. I would like to be perceived as honest. I try to be as honest as possible in my music. And yeah, I think authentic is all that I can say so far. Yeah, I think that's what I want to accomplish with like anything with my music, is like keeping it as authentic and honest as possible to like my real story and my real life. And yeah, it's kind of hard to unpack things that are like close to your heart, and that's the stuff that I'm like, let's go there. Let's go there. Yeah, I just want to be honest and vulnerable, honestly.
Do you think that the type of issues you speak so, and I do appreciate it, speaking so honestly and frankly about, do you think that when people hear that, it comes through, or do you think, you know, people get lost in the talent because it's about?
I mean, I appreciate like anyone who listens to my music, and I at least want you to take something away, and even if it's just a joyful feeling or like a warm feeling, that's fine. But there are people that are like, yeah, like I said, they're like, it's too emotional, or like whatever it is, and that's fine too. I think that there are people out there that really, really need this, and I'm so driven to constantly be like chasing what, you know, people are kind of like scared to say, or people are, you know, are in a position where they know that if they say certain things, it'll be perceived in a certain way because of who they are. And I'm just like, I don't care. It's okay not to be okay. I'm gonna be in shambles, and y'all can see the shambles part, y'all can see the perfect part, y'all can see every shade, and let's just not hide from, you know, who we really are. I think some people use the music and the facade to kind of like mask, and for me it's the opposite. It's like demasking. It's just like revealing everything. Yeah, that's just my approach, and that's just how I want to build my discography and how I want to connect and create music moving forward. Yeah.
Because I was explaining this concept to my mom. I was explaining to her music today. Right.
Like the concept?
Yeah, the concept. Because you know how it be, like, you guys, what are you singing about?
Okay, true.
You know, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, you know what, mom? Let me just, you know, put on a song, right? So I put on Bad Day, right? She was vibing with it.
Oh, that's dope.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I know, come on, this is a nice song.
That's amazing.
Right? So I said, Mama, do you know how sad she is on this song? You know, and it was in that moment where she kind of understood, like, there are so many different layers in artists today. Your song must be a nice song. Your song must also have meaning. That can sometimes get lost. And I broke down the lyrics to her. I'm like, and she's like, yo, Kanti Monelle is sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like, I always find it interesting because I listen and I know how I consume your music, but I was just really curious to see, like, if other people come, you know, how they perceive you. But what I want to ask now is, in the process of these interviews, I've come to realize a lot of artists are mischaracterized. And, you know, they are given labels which they're not all too cool with. We give them out of love, to be fair, because we want to claim you guys and say these are our, you know.
Yeah.
But let me ask now, because I'm also very guilty of it many a time.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself? Are you an R&B artist? Are you a neo soul artist? Are you I'm just an artist? You know, like, I would like to know from your, because we just give you, we hear it and we like, R&B, let's go.
I get you. Right? I do, like, I feel like my roots obviously are in R&B, and if I say neo soul, they'll be rooted in R&B. And I experiment, so I'll always have like an alternative take on what I'm doing. So I would say R&B / alternative is like where you can put all my music and it'll fit. But like I also kind of like write poetry, so I kind of like rap sometimes, you know, and like I'm diving into that a little more, you know, with my upcoming music. So I mean, it's always gonna be R&B and hip hop, like ride or die. And I don't think that, you know, I, you know, have to necessarily always be making like pure classic R&B. Because I love making, like when we make Good to Me, like it had all those R&B elements that are just right, and I'm just like, don't touch it, doesn't need anything else. And sometimes I want to play around and like I like fusion and put some jazz into it, and I'm not afraid to like let them, you know, come together, play around with other stuff. And whatever speaks to the music, like I'm always here to serve the music and make the best record I possibly can make. And yeah, I'm just, it's gonna be R&B, alternative, and like hip hop very, very soon.
Oh
yes sir.
Hey, just drop the exclusive
warning. Let me jump on you. I'm playing.
Oh my god. Okay. My final question to you.
Yes, sir.
My final question to you, and I'm going to. I've been trying to switch up the endings of my interviews.
All right.
And usually I'll ask, say something to your past self, future self, current self. This time, I'd like you to look into the camera and tell the person that listens to your music if you would like to tell them anything you want. Doesn't have to be deep. There's no pressure to be deep and have a quotable. It doesn't have to be, you know,
I had a dream.
You don't have to, you know, say something out of this world. Just anything you would like to say to a listener of your music.
Okay, it's about to get personal. Okay. What I really want to say to everybody that listens to my music is that I am eternally grateful for just the space that I am in, the people that I'm surrounded by, and what I'm able to create. And South Africa is hot right now when it comes to R&B, hot. Okay, I just want all the R&B girlies to get together and, you know, be on their necks. So we're about to take the scene to the next level. So just stay tuned and stay with us and stay supporting women in music, period. That's it.
Well, no, I asked you not to say something, you know what I mean? And then you just dropped it.
That was balanced though. Like, it was hype though. Like, we could. Yeah.
Yo, man, I need to talk to Redacted if I can have that as like a trailer for my channel.
Yeah, actually.
Anyways, well, now we bump into each other a lot. I don't know if people know. Bump into these niggas a lot. And I must say, whether it's in a professional setting or just outside, it's always a pleasure to speak to you. I appreciate you, appreciate the music, appreciate your team. More power to you guys.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. And like, it's always a pleasure. Always. We love what you're doing.
I appreciate that.
Many more. Let's go.